I think I figured out how to schedule and go live, and I think this is all going to work. We shall see. Now I'm going to also try to be on my channel on another phone. I don't have my tech editor here, so I'm hoping that maybe I think I figured out how to schedule and go live, and I think this is all going to work. We shall see. Now I'm going to also try to be on my channel on another phone. I don't have my tech editor here, so I'm hoping that maybe. What are we doing here? Your videos. Does everyone have these problems? My channel live. Your videos. Does everyone have these problems? My channel. Okay, I may have figured it out. Hello. I hear myself echoing back, which is not what I'm hoping. Okay. I may have figured it out. Okay. Hello. All right. If you are here for the live for Granny Square Sunday, how in the heck did I manage to do this? I have it kind of going in a weird loop. If you are here for the live for Granny Square Sunday, what in the heck have I done? How in the heck did I manage to do this? I have it kind of going in a weird loop. Okay, I'm going to try again. What in the heck have I done? Okay, maybe if I take the mic off. Sorry. Maybe that's just one too many things. Okay. I think, I mean, this is weird seeing myself on two screens, one with a slight delay, but I think, fingers crossed that we have figured it out and that it was two mics going to the same thing. And that if I just put this little mic thing away, we will not have any more of these weird problems. Okay, Rosie is apparently agreeing with me. Huh, Rosie, this cute Rosie right here. She's always cuddled up next to me. She is my favorite crochet buddy. Sorry, shouldn't have tried to show you Rosie. Apparently that was a bridge too far. We figured out the mic problems, but we can't figure out how to show you the cute dog. The cute doggo. Okay, I need a drink of my water. We are going to continue with the beautiful red heart all-in-one. Look at that gorgeous shade. I love this afternoon light that we're getting through these windows. It's filtered a little bit and it's just showing these colors so well. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love this colorway, but I discovered that I had purchased another gorgeous colorway from the Joann's haul a while ago. Oh, there's a hair. This beautiful one is called Soft White Watermelon. And I really love the colors in this one as well. This is how this one works up. I did one of these already, just seeing how it worked up. And I really do love, yeah, these all-in-one things, as long as you're not super picky, which apparently I am not. They work really well. So we are doing this. I've got a number of squares already. And if you remember from last week, with our Granny Square Sunday and our crochet along, we got to this spot and we are in the process of making a vest. So we're not very far because this is not a vest. It's not even half a vest yet, but we're getting there. And the real kicker here is that I am attempting to do this as a continuous join because I am not excited to sew in all the ends for this project. I mean, it is the all-in-one, so there's, one end to crochet, to weave in, which is fabulous per square. But if I possibly can, I would love to have as few ends to weave in from this part as well. Okay, so here I am so far, and then my next step is to go down this edge, and then I'm going to join another square, head up here, go across, and then back down. So basically 3 edges, the third edge on this square, and then 3 edges on this next square. So that is my process. Are there any Super Bowl fans excited for the game tonight? I am from Kansas City, and so we are kind of mourning the loss of our Super Bowl. This is the first, and like, I sound kind of like a brat to say this, but it's the first year for a while that we haven't even been involved in a Super Bowl or the playoffs or anything like that. It's been disappointing. Because basically we've lived here, when did we move? 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, before COVID. And it seems like, and it probably hasn't been every year, but it seems like it's basically been every year that the Chiefs have gone to the Super Bowl. I say we as if I had anything to do with it. I am literally holding down the couch, crocheting my way through every sports thing that comes along. So I did not do much. I did make a Super Bowl banner, a Chiefs banner. And I think our first year here for football season, I made this homemade Chiefs banner, and it has, it's felt, and, kind of like, I can't even think of the shape, but it's like a rectangle with the bottom cut out in a triangle, like kind of bannerish, almost like that. So it's that shape, and then I did that with a red background, and then I cut out all the letters for Chiefs in yellow, and I cut out a brown felt football with white little stitching. So it is very homemade looking. Like, it is nothing that looks branded, but it also looks pretty on point with my homemade decor look that I'm fond of. So yeah, I felt like it was helpful for the Chiefs. Like, maybe it helped them have some good luck to have another homemade banner around town. But maybe it's my fault because I did not put it up this year, and here we are with no Super Bowl party to attend. Okay. In other news, let's get back to the crochet, which is why we're all here, not for the sports, for the crochet. So I've been working on, obviously, these squares, but then I think it was, or later this week, what was the event that I had that I wanted to grab something different because I've worked on this for a while. So I grabbed this one, this watermelon. What is it called again? Soft white watermelon. And I really love this colorway. I have been trying to think of what I want to make with this, and I'm leaning towards a bag. You know those bags where it's kind of a triangle shape, where they kind of go like this, and then the handles come off these two top triangles? Well, that is what I'm thinking, because I believe that requires 13 squares, and this has 14. Yeah, it says it has 14 in here. And so if that's the case, I should have enough to make the entire bag. I will probably look in my closet for a color to use to join it. Although I could maybe use this blue again, because that's pretty close. If you, like, it's not an exact to this blue, but it's not far off. And that might be a good complementary color. Or I could always go with a white, although I feel like white for handles. I feel like I would get that dirty. I don't know if this is going to be for me. But that is my fear, is that might just be a little too easy to get dirty. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, back to my crocheting. So I'm curious what everybody else has made from their granny squares all-in-ones. If you have made something, I saw this week, and Paige, I don't see you on here, but I did see that Paige finished her, I believe it was her daughter-in-law's, maybe it was her granddaughter's, that she was making a beautiful bag for, and it was 4 granny squares on the front and then 1 big granny square on the back, and just a traditional rect or square shape. And it turned out so beautiful. The colors that she picked were really, really lovely. So I could do something like that. Obviously, I wouldn't do a big granny square on the back because this just makes this one size. So I would probably just go 4 and 4. And that could work. Again, I need an alternate color to put in there. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. So if anyone has any ideas that they want to suggest, I'm all ears. Whoopee, looks like I didn't finish this one. So I will pick a different one. Okay, this one looks like a good one. Alrighty. Any big crochet projects? We are finally getting a little bit of better weather here, which is extremely nice. Today it's almost 60 degrees. Like, it is legitimately lovely outside, which is a really, really big treat to say because we had such cold weather, but nothing like you East Coasters, nothing like that. There's another person I follow online. Her name is Marcy, and her blog is called Single Mom on a Farm. Well, that's her blog name, but she also has a YouTube of that same name. And on YouTube, she finally was able to get water. She and her kids, they're in southern, maybe towards the mountains. I'm not sure exactly where she lives, but somewhere in the rural parts of Southern Virginia. And they got so much ice and then snow that they lost water on their farm for 6 days for 6 kids and a mom. I was like, wow. Luckily, they were prepared. So they didn't, they were able to drink water. They just couldn't really wash the dishes or take showers or all of the really nice things you want to do with water. And they didn't lose power. So for like their chickens, they brought in snow and melted that down so that they didn't have to use up their water stores for the chickens. And they may do, but it looks, from her videos, it looks like the East Coast and is just underneath some severe weather still. So no fun for them. I should probably angle this video down a touch so you can see what I'm working on. That just occurred to me. Is that kind of a weird angle? No, maybe that works all right. Okay. Maybe I have to hold it a little bit further up. I don't know. We shall see. We're going to give it a shot. Okay. In other crochet news, I am planning to start a literary discussion on my channel where I go through some of the crochet and knit books that are my favorites and talk through why they are my favorites. And this week I'm going to be looking at this one. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's called Crochet Borders by Edie Eckman. I always want to put an L in there. And this is just a really lovely book for crochet border ideas. And it's in color. I'm going to do a whole review on it and why it has made the cut for my library over the years, just because it's such a good book. And I was thinking that might be a good thing to do on my channel from probably once every other week or so, to just kind of talk about one of the crochet books that either I have or that I am purchasing or something like that, so that everyone can, we can all talk about our crochet journeys. Um, I love hearing, I was watching Creative Grandma the other day, and she talked about a crochet book that she had recently purchased, and it was really delightful. She went through the different things that she liked about the book and she flipped through it. And I found that really, really useful. And I was like, you know what? I've got quite a few books there. Like this one from Edie is, I believe it's fairly old. It's 2010. Yeah, so it's 15 years old. So nobody's going to be reviewing this one, maybe except me, but it really is such a good resource that I was like, what are the books that have stood the test of time in our crochet um, libraries that we really love and go back to over and over? And so that's what I was thinking of doing for that. We'll see if that ends up being something that's useful for people or not. I mean, we live in a wonderful age that most of the books we ever want to read or see are still available to us. So why not? Why not just go ahead and show some classics that have been super helpful for me? Another one of my favorite crochet books, what is that one called? It's a good half story if I can't remember the name of it. I will have to come back when I remember it. So, okay, maybe not on that one. Hello, friend. How are you? Hi, good to see you. Hi, Tina. I am here working on my lovely vest. Hopefully it turns out good. I'm just talking about all the things crochet. Glad to have a friendly face on here. So, oh, my girls have purchased a couple of different themed type books for me over the years. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. And so I have a Harry Potter knits. Oh, hello, Lana. Nice to see you. Welcome. So I have Harry Potter knits and Harry Potter crochet books. And I have not made anything from those, but the Mrs. Weasley's sweaters that she does every year for the kiddos, the Weasley sweaters for Christmas, those look really, really fun. So I have thought of doing that. Knitting, I find to be, you're a Harry Potter nerd too. Yay! I love it. Yeah, Harry Potter is, me and my daughter are talking about doing a trip for homeschooling and next year. And as part of that trip, we want to do a British literature unit. So I love Jane Austen. This is my secret way of making her read all of Jane Austen. She's watched all the movies over the years that have ever been made about Jane Austen. I think she has seen them. But she hasn't read all of the originals. She's read like the kid versions because, of course, we purchased the kid versions. But she hasn't read the originals. And so I thought, what a great way to make her read all the originals. And then I realized that Harry Potter is British literature too. So she has read all the Harry Potters. We've both read them. I've read them out loud to her. So, we are committed to Harry Potter. And when I was in Scotland a couple of years ago, this is kind of a funny story. I went and did this walk in Scotland, Highland Way, and it was about 100 miles over like a week period, a little over a week. Okay. That was a huge, huge stretch for me. Just that walk was like, it pushed me to my limits in every single way. But when I finished it and I hopped back on the train to Edinburgh, I get to Edinburgh and I was like, I should go and get fish and chips. That's like classic British food to get. And I hadn't had it yet. Weirdly, nobody was serving that on the trail. So I just look up like quintessential fish and chip shops in Edinburgh. And I saw one, I can't remember, maybe it was Harry's. I can't remember the name. This is another good half story. Anyway, so I walk from my hotel all the way to this place. I read them all to my kids too. I wish I could do that trip. I know. So we get to the I get to the fish and chips place. And as I'm walking up the street, I was like, this reminds me of Diagon Alley. Like, it is so colorful and quirky and kind of bends and turns. I was like, I swear, this looks a lot like Diagon Alley. And then I see all these people taking pictures. I had literally gone to the street that J.K. Rowling, at the top of the street, there's a library, the Edinburgh Library, which of course I visited just because I loved going to libraries. And it turns out that she wrote some of the Harry Potter series sitting in that library and looking down this colorful, bright street with all these different shops. And that was part of the inspiration for her books. And I didn't even mean to, but I walked right into it and I was like, oh, I have to take my girls here. And so we are talking about going to England to do a British literature trip after we read all of the British literature. That's cool. It was so fun. There was a graveyard just a few streets over, but this is at the end of the trip and I was exhausted. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to make it to the graveyard because you have to weave in and out and find things. And I was just like, I don't have it in me. So I did not go to the graveyard, but apparently there's this graveyard in Edinburgh that has a lot of the names that she ended up using, including Tom Riddle for Voldemort's name in He Who May Not Be Named, Shall Not Be Named in her books. And so I was kind of bummed when I got home back to America. I was like, bruh, you never go to Edinburgh. This is your first, maybe your only time there. Why didn't you walk over to the cemetery? But I was well and truly done, son. Okay, so here we are on this. I'm going to hold it up to me to show you. Okay, so my next move is going to be the one under here, so it's not going to connect to these others. We'll see. Hopefully this works. So if anyone else has been to Edinburgh, I'd love to hear it. Honestly, I can't wait to go back because I felt like the walking, it was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. Got to see all the Highland cows and sheep galore and all the things. It was truly, truly just amazing. But it was also super tiring. Like I said, it was the edge of my limits physically, and I'm glad I did it. But if I go and actually want to tour the British literature stuff and take the train on the aqueduct and everything, I want to have the energy to do it. And so, and not be at the edge of my energy. So I don't know. Isn't it weird how, well, I don't know how old the rest of you are, but I am going to turn 50 this year, my Jubilee year. Part of the reason we're going on our homeschool trip. But it is interesting how as I get older, I see energy almost as a currency, and I have to just spend it accordingly. I don't know. I'm hoping that will not always be the case, but I suspect it just might. Like that might just be part of getting older as your energy becomes a resource that you have to manage, like as if it's money or something. I don't know. It sort of feels that way to me. Anyone else, or is it just me? Okay, here we go. I'm really excited. I will be 52. Gen X, baby. Awesome. Another Gen Xer. Love it. I feel like I understand, lady. Yeah, it feels like energy is something we manage now. And Gen X here too. Awesome. Tina, Lana, my people. I love it. I've watched a couple of videos recently that are by Gen Xers who are talking about things we did as kids. And so I purchased a camper van. It's a 1988, so it's an older one. But I grew up with a 1968. So my van is 20 years newer than the van I grew up in, right? But my kiddos, they've never sat in anything so old as a 1988 anything. And my teenager, she is always like so funny about things. Like I started to drive, we have to drive it. It's not my daily commuter car. It's just a for fun car. So I try to drive it on the weekends when we have good weather, that sort of thing, or for camping. So we drove it this morning to go to church, and I started driving before she had her seatbelt on, and she's like, "Mama, I don't have my seatbelt on." And I was like, "You'll get it on, and this thing doesn't go fast, so we're fine." And then it reminded me that with our 68 van, first of all, we didn't wear seatbelts for most of my life. It doesn't have seatbelts at all in the back. I remember they strapped a car seat for my sister. They just basically wrapped it around that couch thing at the back. So the car seat was sitting upright as long as you didn't turn a corner. But if you turned a corner, it just kind of leaned to one side or another. I don't know. Like, how did we survive those things? So we would, the older kids sitting next to the car seat, we would like kind of prop it up or like push it back, and I don't know, that was crazy. But also the front driver's seat, the seatbelt was stuck in the, what is it called? The seatbelt hitch, like it wouldn't come out. So if you were going to wear your seatbelt as a front seat kid, which I remember being like 6 years old and feeling so fancy because I was sitting in the front. It wasn't a thing that you didn't sit in the front until you were 12. That wasn't a thing. Anyway, in order to wear a seat belt, I would have to slip under the part that goes across the chest strap. There was no way I was going to have the lap belt like that. That wasn't even an option. But if I wanted to have a semblance of a seatbelt, I had to go under it and kind of scooch in there. And I did because I was a kid and I thought I was cool because I was sitting in the front. So it was fine. And nobody was like, "Oh, this isn't very safe." Nobody thought about that stuff. It's crazy. I also remember being in a Volkswagen, we must have been little, in a Volkswagen Bug. The old school kind, not the new fancy ones with air conditioning, but sitting in one of those, and there were 5 of us kids sitting in that back seat because it was 2 moms, and my mom had 3 kids, and this other woman had 2 kids. So there were 5 of us. We all squeezed back there, and we were all I remember us kind of complaining, honestly, because it wasn't super comfortable, and people being like, "Oh, so-and-so can just sit on your lap. It's not a problem." Oh, the things we did back in the day, us Gen Xers. And boomers wonder why we ended up being helicopter parents. I don't know. We just lived a little crazy back then. Okay, so this one, I'm thinking through this here. So this is going to be an armpit one. So this goes over my shoulders, and this is going to be the armpit one. So I don't want to join it yet. I want to go on all 3 sides and then join it with the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 in the corner and then carry on down. How are we alive? Agreed. How are we alive? Like, yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, right? Like it was a fun way to live life. Good question. Yeah. Alrighty. Oh, I'm hoping this will work, and I'm hoping to get this one strap on to see. So if my calculations are correct, which I am not 100% sure that is the case, since I have had to redraw my little notes on my whiteboard several times and undo crocheting and, you know, all the things you do when you're trying something new. But if my calculations are correct, I will actually have to stop this yarn and restart it for the next row down. I can't figure out how to do it otherwise. So maybe some of you who have done something similar can tell me how you've done it, but this lady is flummoxed. I have not figured it out. Okay, here we go. Adding one more square in. And I love a continuous join, but maybe clothing is not where it shines because this is a little tricky. I'm kind of an ugly baby at this point. Like it's not making a ton of sense, but hopefully it will in the end, right? Okay. I am actually planning to get rid of my commuter car and have us go to the camper, the 88 VW camper, as my primary vehicle because we're going to be traveling anyway. So we're not going to be driving much, and I can just store that at my sister's house while we're gone. And I tell you, you would think that I was doing something really radical and crazy the way my kiddo was objecting to this approach. She was like, what? We're only going to have that car. And she now could drive whenever she takes the permit test. So it's a stick shift. You know, that's not very common. So she's just, there are all the things to consider with this one for her. So I'm like, kiddo, you are lucky because not all kids get to learn how to drive a stick shift. She has not felt her luck so far. I think her grandfather, my ex-father-in-law, he has a Corvette, and it is also a stick shift. It's a bit older now. And so her thought, it's a good skill to have. I could not agree more. So her thought is that if she learns to drive the stick shift on the camper van, that she can try to get grandpa to let her drive his Corvette. And I was just laughing to myself, thinking about the difference in acceleration. Like my van has 90 horsepower total. I mean, like we are not going fast and up a hill. We are like a snail. I have a bumper sticker on the back that says, I'm flooring it, just go around me, because we go that slow, right? Like it is what it is. It's part of the charm of older vans is they go as fast as they go and no faster. So yeah, that's gonna be fun to see the difference when she tries that. Okay, am I thinking through this right? No, I am not. I need to add one more square here because I almost connected these and then realized I am short a square. So how am I gonna do this one? All right, if I go up and around, yeah, that's how I'll do it. So grab another square. Okay. Anyway, the Corvette, you know, it's an older one, so it's not super fast now, but like driving a Corvette, a race car versus just driving a little putt-putt VW van with, my parents with our 68, they used to say it had a sewing machine engine in there, and it sort of feels like that. It really does. I kind of love old-fashioned things sometimes, so I also am looking over because I have an old treadle sewing machine that I just used to set the crochet chickens on, not to actually sew on, but apparently it still works. Like if I were to be mechanically inclined and oil that bad boy up, allegedly it still could work, which is pretty amazing. I can't think of anything I could purchase now that would work 100 years from now. I feel like there's planned obsolescence in everything we purchase, and it's super annoying. But that is one of the amazing things about the van is like, it's a very simple motor. So the parts are very hard to come by. But if you can get the parts, you can have basically anyone fix it. And it doesn't require the latest computer upgrade or, any of that stuff. And that's really, really nice. I was looking at other vans, like maybe I should trade it in and be more responsible and get a fancier van. But they are actually fairly reliable, even if they are vintage. So I'm sticking with my old vintage beauty. Her name's Pearl because she's white, and I feel like it's almost perfect for an adventure. We're taking an adventure in the Pearl. So I did do some bunting for her, some triangle granny bunting. I should show that because that turned out really cute. And I need to figure out a better way to hang it. There's a couple of hooks in there that I've used to hang it, and I don't feel like it's super secure. I mean, it's bunting, so if it falls, it's just, a little bit of yarn. But that would be nice to have that hung a little more securely at some point in the near future. So maybe that will be, well, it looks like I'm gonna need a part 3 on this because I am not that far along. But unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to hop off to go pick up a kiddo. Hello, if you're just joining us, welcome. We are doing the Granny Square vest, and we are continuing. We're trying to do it with a continuous join. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, actually hold it up right now to show how it's going. So right now, if I fold this in half, so we're looking at the inside of it, so you can kind of see how the back is coming along. So I'm going up this side right here, and then I'm going to connect it at the top, which is pretty fantastic. And then I'll come back and work around and connect the other one. So, I mean, it's starting to actually look like a vest, which is a nice surprise. And what is everyone working on? Is anyone else working on Granny Squares today? If you are, I would love to hear about it in the chat. I was hoping Paige may join us, but I don't, I kind of just do these. I try to do one every Sunday because I really just love crocheting on a Sunday afternoon and chatting with friends. Like that feels like the best way to spend a Sunday afternoon, honestly. But I don't always know what my schedule is. My kiddo had some activities, so I just had to pick her up and drop her off and, all the things. So I don't feel like I can make a specific schedule, which makes it hard for people to be able to join regularly because it may or may not work with them. I'm just hoping that over time, a lot of people will happen to. I have a partial Granny Square cardigan. Ooh, awesome. Hi, Kristen. Welcome. Speaking of Granny Square cardigan, I mentioned this last week and then it was up in my yarn closet and I never brought it out, but I'm making a conversation heart pillow. Oh, I love those. Some in a row down the front and down each. Oh, nice. Down each arm, I think is what you're saying. Awesome. So I started this this is the hexagon hexy cardigan arm. Yep, I was following you. So this is the hexy cardigan that is super, super easy, right? You just keep going 6 sides, granny squares. And I decided to try using the all-in-one, this same color, because I bought a lot at the Joann's fire sales. Yeah, those sales, they did a number on my yarn closet. They were just too good and I couldn't resist. And since I loved this colorway, I don't even know how many skeins I bought. It might be like 10. It's kind of silly, honestly. Anyway, so I was like, how else can I use this other than just squares? like what ratios would look good with this colorway. And I decided to try it as a hexie cardigan. And I actually really love, like you can see there's a little pops of green, there's the blacks and the blues. So I actually really am loving how it's turning out as a hexie cardigan. And I think it will just continue to get better as it gets a little bigger, because obviously this is not the right size for this lady. And I feel like I make most of my stuff for myself. So I'm gonna keep going with this one at some point, but not till I finish this vest. I hope to be wearing this vest on these crochet Sundays at some point in the near future. I don't want to jinx myself, but I really do want to finish this. So we shall see how that goes. Yeah, I like the ratios of the colors, and hopefully as it finishes, it will just keep getting better and more spread out. It did get a little bit, each of the colors kind of pooled to themselves at one point, so I have to decide where I want those to go, like the dark blue right here, and then the light blue right here. And then we got some black along this side, and a little bit of the gray. I mean, the gray is a smaller color, so not so much there, but even the green got a little pooly right here. I really do like that green in there though, so maybe I should make sure that gets on the front. It all depends on how you fold it. So if you fold it a different way, like suddenly that black gets in there in a different spot. So, you know, I feel like it can work. Cute. Thanks, Tina. Yeah, I'm liking the way it's turning out. It's, I've got more whips than I've got cents at this point. Like so many. I've seen some people that are like, should I whip it or frog it? And they pull out all of their whips. Very pretty. It will be great. I agree. I think it'll look really nice. So I've seen some people on YouTube pull out all of their whips, and I kind of feel embarrassed by the level of my whips, because all of their whips is like 3 or 4. I'm not exaggerating to say I probably have 30. I don't even know, because every project bag I've ever had in my life, I feel like is in my yarn closet with some level of whip. It is a real problem, which is why I started a crochet channel, so that I could just crochet with people and hopefully get some of those done. We'll see. It's ambitious. I feel like I have enough for the rest of my life if I wanted to just work on the projects I have. And we all know that's not going to happen. I'm going to see other ideas, and I'm going to definitely start them. Startitis. Yes, that is exactly what I have. That is exactly it. Okay, this is exciting. I am joining the arm right here. So I was worried that this armhole would not be big enough, but I'm just gonna try my arm through it. Okay, I think that can work. All right, here we go. Joining the arm. Very exciting stuff here. Riveting television. My ex found out that I was doing a crochet channel, and he was like, do people watch crochet channels? I was like, oh, people watch anything, myself included. Like some of the times I watch something on YouTube and then I'm like, why was that so good? And it's something completely unexpected. I mean, obviously I love crochet, so that's not an unexpected one, but it was another craft type thing that I hadn't seen before. LOL, yup, yes we do. It was like a paper craft of some sort that I hadn't ever seen, and watching somebody do it, it was one of those channels that was a faceless channel, and it was just watching the process of whatever the paper craft was, and it was riveting. Like I kept watching it, and I don't know what to say for myself other than I loved it. So what can you say? Good times. All right, this is exciting. Only a few more stitches. Alrighty. Oh, looky, looky. like that show how it's made. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I do. I like those. And I really like I should actually learn to do this where they do the time lapses and they just show somebody working on something. Um, and you get to watch the progress from start to finish. You just can't turn it's so true. It is like mesmerizing. So good. So one of the ones I was watching recently, a girl and her dad had started updating this old store. They were renovating it, and she's going to turn it into like a place that she lives, I think. I don't know. But I was watching it. I was like 30 minutes in before I had to leave for work. And I was like, oh my gosh, why do I have to work? I just want to watch this person's project. But alas, turns out I still need to pay for my mortgage. So off to work I go. All right, let's take a quick little gander at how this is looking. I feel like with a project like this where I could go wrong in a lot of ways, I want to pause and make sure it's going right. Okay, so here's the front, here's the side, and here's the back. It is starting to actually look like a vest. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this continuous join thing is working on this. Okay, we'll try the arm because I've been nervous that my arms are too big for this. Voila, my arm is fitting and not poorly. This model on here is much, well, she's wearing baggy clothes, but she looks like she's smaller than me. So I thought this, and hers is one square for the opening. And so I was worried that if the one square opening fit her, it might not fit me. But I think doing the continuous join added a row, which gave it a little more width and everything all the way around, just by a square all the way around. And that's, you know, half an inch, which is apparently enough. So excited. Okay, unfortunately, I have to go because I have to go pick up a kiddo from an activity. But thank you so much for joining, and hopefully we will get to do this again next Sunday. That's awesome that it works so perfectly. I know, I'm so excited, Tina. If I can figure out how to write this up in a way that makes sense, I absolutely will. It barely makes sense to me though, so. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Lalana and Tina and Kristen. This has been fun, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.